8th Parliament. That's where the bill to create the constituency's development fund was tabled. 2 decades later, the fund has become one of the most effective development tools at the grassroots. From building primary schools, police stations, secondary schools, chief's premises, playgrounds, libraries, supporting sporting activities, and changing lives through bursary allocation. The fund has become the most popular in the country.
This fund is overly a success story. As we sit right now, so far over 3,000 schools have been constructed. Dormitories to the tune of over 1,200 in different parts of the country. Laboratories, we can talk about administration blocks in various schools, pit latrines, school buses have been provided for the mobility and to be able to support school-going children, activities, and now on matters climate change, tree planting initiatives in terms of greening the country.
Since 2003, when it was assented to, the CDF has received about 500 billion shillings, and its impact can be seen far and wide. In the towns, villages, urban centers, rural areas, and in every corner of the country.
Some Kenyans will remember that during President Moi's time, there was a period when we had the district focus for rural development as a policy of government, where projects were identified through district commissioners and their development committees at the district level. I think going back history, that was how this thing started. But it was not until the 9th Parliament when Honorable Karue, Engineer Karue, brought up the idea of having a law to have projects identified at the grassroots level and then funded by the national government, so that the desire of the Kenyan at the grassroots is identified and then funded. That was a way of ensuring that government development funds are channeled to reach and benefit the grassroots person.
The idea to start the Constituency Development Fund was mooted by then Ol-Kalou Member of Parliament, Muriuki Karue. Elected to Parliament in 1997 through an opposition ticket, he wished to see things done differently and lobbied MPs to create a fund for grassroots development. However, at the time, all monies for grassroots development were allocated at the district level. Neither the MP nor Wananchi had any input, and MPs would seek money to develop their constituencies on the floor of the House.
We used to have this thing called question time. Every day before Brugge starts their program for the day, we used to have a question time for 1 hour. Every day, every sitting. So the ministers used to come to the House and they answer questions. So you can file that you want something done in your constituency and the minister will come and answer. So the first thing to do is I want 8 dispensary health centers in my constituency. We have 3. So I'm advised, no, if you say all 8, they cannot be happen. Say 2. So I go and select this one, a place called Gorika, another one called Gatimu. I want these 2. So the minister will come and he will reason and he will say, oh, yes, Mr. Speaker, sir, we agree, Ministry of Health. What the Member of Parliament for Karau is saying is very commendable. That's what we want. We will certainly, Mr. Speaker, sir, build the 2 health centers which the Member of Karau is saying when funds become available. So you don't go and ask for something else. Oh, no, Mr. Speaker, sir, it will be done when funds become available. Yo, Mr. Speaker, sir, that bridge you are saying it will be done when funds become available. So me, I went about looking for ways to get the funds available.
Today, 2 decades later, Karue can only look back to the year 2003 and see how his efforts bore fruits. More so, Not less than 2.5% of all national government share of revenue goes to grassroots development.
You can do those mega things and still accommodate my 2.5% and you do the grassroots. You don't have to do those at the expense of where people are. This is a voice I brought into the country and it has worked. And obviously, CDF after all those years, they has done all those things and there is no program in the government which has stopped.
Formed by an Act of Parliament in 2003, the National Constituencies Development Fund was initially known as the Constituencies Development Fund or CDF. The Act was later reviewed by the CDF Amendment Act of 2007 and was repealed by the CDF Act 2013, which was subsequently succeeded by the current NGCDF Act 2015. But with all that, the primary purpose of the fund to enhance infrastructural and socio-economic development at the grassroots level has never changed. The other role is to reduce poverty by dedicating a minimum of 2.5% of all national government's share of revenue towards projects identified at the constituency level by the community.
CDF Act of 2003 was enacted by Parliament to give effect to the ability and the capacity that exists of wananchi down at grassroots level to be able to determine their own destiny, to be able to identify and prioritize their own needs. And therefore, this fund was created to become an instrument to be able to actualize the dreams of the people.
After CDF was created through an Act of Parliament, a committee was formed to lay out its administrative and legal framework. This committee comprised of various government entities like the Ministry of Planning, the Office of the Attorney General, and other stakeholders. The team borrowed heavily from government tools developed over the years to foster grassroots development.
CDF came with solutions to those challenges that had been identified, like inadequate funding, the issue of delayed decision making, the issue of people participating wholly in their projects and delivery.
NGCDF is hailed as the only fund easily accessed by the people at the community level whenever they need any development. This is done through public participation, where the community holds public barazas and comes up with the projects they want to be undertaken in their area.
As per the Act, there are clear procedure on how to identify the needs on the ground. Every constituency, we have what we call National Government Constituency Development Fund Committee. Those committees are chaired by a chairperson. Now that chairperson constitutes that committee, and this committee now they visit every ward of the constituency and they carry out what we call public participation. That public participation, they identify the needs of every ward. Once they compile the report, then they forward the same report to the National Government CDF Board, which approves or sometimes rejects the same proposal if it doesn't meet the need on the ground. That's how we identify and approve projects.
Because of that, and over the years, NGCDF has transformed the rural areas. The most important allocation of the fund, about 70%, has since then gone to education, which includes physical infrastructure development. There is a reason. Education has been slotted as an essential social pillar of Kenya's Vision 2030.
What I see in the NCDF is actually that it has really supported what I would call, in a big block, human capital development at the consistency level, because it has supported education through bursaries. And bursaries is one component. The other one actually is the education infrastructure. And you know, most people belittle education infrastructure, but they do not seem to know that if you don't have classrooms, you cannot actually talk about school and everything. And even simple facilities like even toilet facilities. So in a sense, we not only look at education, but also education infrastructure.
Due to education's role in development, different governments have rolled out policies to improve it. For instance, President Mwai Kibaki's administration rolled out free primary education in 2003. The same year, CDF bill was enacted into law. President Uhuru Kenyatta's administration rolled out 100% transition to secondary school in 2018. To support these policy measures, NGCDF rehabilitated old schools, built new ones, and improved basic infrastructure to support education. The infrastructure includes laboratories, libraries, dining halls, and dormitories.
The land was bought by CDF, and over and above the classes that have been built, the CDF also, because of security purposes, fenced the school using the chain link and the concrete pillars that you have seen. The CDF also installed a gate at the entrance, which you have seen, and those are projects that have been funded by the CDF. This institution could not have run without the ablution block, and so two of them were set, the one for the staff and the other one for the students. And the project that is ongoing currently is the construction of the laboratory to take care of the sciences within this institution.
Through NGCDF, students who were initially marginalized now have access to schools. An example is Kibra Secondary School in Kibra slums of Nairobi.
They had basically a teen structure that looked almost like the settlements we have around, the informal settlement. But the CDF wanted to take care of the students of this community because most of them, because of the financial backgrounds of their parents, could not afford to go to boarding schools. So they saw the need to establish a day school for the children of Kibra. We have attracted very many students because they can see the facilities they look for out there can be found right in the middle of Kibra.
Buruburu Girls Secondary School, another brainchild of NGCDF, located in Mandera East. It caters for the marginalized girls who otherwise would have dropped out of school early, as has been a culture within pastoralist communities. To support education for people living with disabilities, NGCDF has built a school infrastructure in several areas for a better future for people living with disabilities. At Nyansakya Special School in Kitutu Chache, NGCDF built classes and an ablution block. This task could have fallen on parents' shoulders. Technical and vocational education and training, popularly known as TVET, has emerged as an essential development tool. TVET institutions develop skills to produce the workforce needed for rapid industrialization. NGCDF has invested more than 2 billion shillings in technical training institutions to support this initiative. In 2010, the government rolled out a program to build technical colleges in all constituencies. NGCDF earmarked 10 million shillings for every new technical institution. NGCDF has also supported other infrastructure like fencing, ablution blocks, landscaping, and even built gates for technical institutions.
Entrepreneurship is a key unit in all technical courses. So children or runners or people who attend the technical training institutions are given that great opportunity of developing the entrepreneurial skills. And again, technical institutes or technical education tends to give the learners employable skills that are applicable to society. And therefore, no learner who goes through that training and does a good job is going to get stuck at home because of lack of employment. The skills are employable and they're available.
To further support education, NGCDF allocates not more than 35% to bursaries for secondary and tertiary education.
Basari hiyo imewezesha wanafunzi wetu kupata elimu kulingana na sera ya serikali kuhakikisha kwamba 100% ya wanafunzi ambao wanamaliza shule za msingi wanaenda katika shule za sekondari. Na kupitia kwa mpango huo utakuta tumeweza kufadhili wanafunzi wengi ambao wasingeweza kufikia malengo yao ya masomo. Takriban wanafunzi milioni 6 wamefadhiliwa masomo yao kwa mpangilio wetu wa basari kwa miaka 5 iliyopita.
Every year, bursaries worth over 10 billion shillings are distributed to poor students who would otherwise have dropped out of secondary school or tertiary institutions due to a lack of fees.
Kwanza mimi mwenyewe nimefaitika sana. Niliingia shule kama sikuwa na fee yoyote, but because of CDF I benefited. Na mimi nashukuru sana. Even our 70% of our students are benefiting from the CDF.
Security is an important service that the government provides to its citizens. When a country is secure, people become more productive as they can move freely and earn a living. Every year, NGCDF allocates over 1 billion shillings to security projects, besides building police stations and refurbishing old ones. NGCDF supports the national government in providing better services by building offices for commissioners, assistant commissioners, chiefs and assistant chiefs.
One security project that is Q assistant chiefs, that office has really helped this area because we have been doing public participation there and the bursary vetting for that sublocation, a place where we had no office, no toilet, no water. Currently, we are sure that the situation will improve.
These facilities provide essential services to the people at the grassroots.
Most significantly is that the value that the ordinary citizen gets is the fact that when this security apparatus is set up, then they'll get the security that they need. They'll be secure. Their life will be secure. Their business environment will be secured. And I think the first priority of any government is to make their citizens secure for their life and their way or whatever they do to earn their living. That is the biggest thing they get from having this security apparatus set up and done by the fund.
Sports. This is another vital tool for human development. Sports contribute to physical and mental energy. This energy can be transformed into action and lead to creativity and innovation. Healthy people can improve society by bringing that energy to their families, schools, or workplaces. To support Vision 2030's social pillar, which lists sports as an enabler, the NGCDF has invested not less than 2% of the money each year to fund sports.
Fedha za CDF zinatumika vizuri na zinasaidia kukuza vipaji na kuweka vijana wetu katika hali nzuri.
NGCDF has contributed to sporting facilities in different settings. For example, NGCDF Kibwezi East leveled this playing ground for students to have a sports venue.
Hii ni muradi ya CDF tumekuwa tukifanya katika mashule mingi ambazo zote zinalay along this strip. Hii mawe yote zile mashule ziko hapa, hii strip yote due to volcanic activity zilikuwa na hizi mawe, so unapata shule tukitoka hapa tunaelekea shule inaitwa Kasasule, unaenda Idhayoni, unaenda yote Nzouni, zote hizo mashule hazikuwa na uwanja, na kwa hivyo through CDF watoto wanaweza kuwa na mali wanaweza chezea.
NGCDF has refurbished playgrounds, bought uniforms for players and supported tournaments all over Kenya. In 2017, NGCDF rolled out a social security program aimed at helping the poor access medical insurance. In this social security program, the poor get 6,000 shillings per year to access healthcare through NHIF. NGCDF pays for this money. In addition, to further support the education sector, NGCDF has partnered with Kenya Medical Training College to build new colleges and support existing ones through infrastructure development. This initiative promotes the provision of health through training of future medics.
The other area that we have partnered to assist in the health sector, and it's in terms of training of health personnel, and this is through setting up of KMTCs. There is also making sure that if there's a KMTC that is set up and it needs additional infrastructure, we've been able to come in and assist them to set up further infrastructure. And actually, within the last 5 to 6 years, we've been able to actually set up 86 KMTCs, and 40 of them are actually fully operational.
Water, so essential, yet 15% of Kenyans rely on unimproved water sources, such as ponds, shallow wells, and rivers. NGCDF has been working to bridge that gap by building structures with water harvesting in mind. For example, in schools and local administration offices, NGCDF drills boreholes, thus providing piped water.
Hii mradi wa maji wa CDF umewahi kusaidia watu wa Sagana kwa njia kuu sana. Sisi wakazi wa wananchi wa Sagana tunafurahi sana kwa hii mradi wa hii pamu ya sora. Na tukipendelea pahali popote tuweko ingine kama hii.
The environment. If not taken care of, environmental degradation yields poverty and misery. The NGCDF has come up with various environmental interventions. These programs range from tree planting to water harvesting. The fund is investing 1% every year to better the environment.
At the point when this law was formed, at that point in time, maybe the issue of environment was not considered to be very critical. But where we are right now, I believe we have no choice. We have to rethink our strategy, and we have to increase the funding towards, because it is our most serious and crucial need at the moment and moving forward for many years to come.
In 2014, Kenya was ranked as a lower middle class level income country. Countries in this category have a gross national income per capita, or GNI, of more than 99,000 shillings, but less than 390,000 shillings. For sustained growth, the government unveiled Vision 2030's medium-term plan. The plan, covering 2023 to 2027, strives to strengthen the country's economic sector, create employment opportunities, reduce poverty, and create a conducive environment for investment. In this digital era, technology has been hailed as an economy driver. The government launched a JIRA program aimed at helping youth to get online jobs. This is done at the grassroots. NGCDF has partnered with the ICT Ministry to house the program by building new infrastructure or renovating existing infrastructure. NGCDF has also bought furniture and computers for the program, enabling thousands of youth to access training in information communication technology. These center innovation hubs have generated employment for youths at the grassroots.
The centers are very important to our youths on the ground. And to me personally, as a person who, as a graduate, I graduated, and then during my internship, that is when the positions of center managers were announced. And it is, you are supposed to go and work at your home constituency. So through these centers, I was privileged to be one of the center managers after the interviews. So I just thank the NGCDF, Kibwezi West, and their support which they have accorded me since I joined their team. So thank you so much, the CDF.
We visited Lake Victoria. Here, NGCDF is supporting the fishing sector, which generates up to 60 billion shillings in revenue and employs over 3 million people.
2020 alileta 11 boats kwa mabiches zetu. Hizo maboats inatusaidia sana kwa sababu tunakuanga na conflict huko barini. Watu wa Uganda pia wanatunyang'anya maboats zetu tukienda kuvua. Sasa hiyo inatusaidia. Hata tukienda barini saa zingine wavuvi wanapata shida, saa zingine upepo, the currents is not good with them, wanapiga simu nje, tunatoa maboat, patrol boats, tunaenda huko juu, tunawasaidia.
The boats are so much useful, particularly when there's bad weather and our fishing vessels cannot come back. We use the boats to go and tow them to the lake. We use the boat in surveilling our nets where we cast them at the fishing ground. We use the boats for hot pursuit when there are pirates in the lake. We use the boats to cross over when our people are arrested in the neighboring countries to go and bring them back after paying fines or something of that nature. We also use the boat to surveil around the beaches to ensure that the breeding sites are protected, the illegalities in the lake are combed out. And more so, we also use the boat when there are incidences of lake accident, people drowning. We use the boat to save them and also use the boat to to retrieve the bodies in case of people drowning and dying.
Over the years, NGCDF has evolved and undergone shifts to comply with Schedule 4 of the Constitution, which underlines the roles of national and county governments.
Hazina hii ilipoanza mwaka 2003 kulikuwa na hiyo sheria ya CDF Act ya mwaka 2003 ambao ilibidi mnamo mwaka wa 2015 iweze kubadilishwa, na pia kulikuwa na sababu nyingine ya kuweza kufanya mabadiliko hayo kwa sheria, kwamba kulikuwa malalamishi kotini na baadhi ya mashirika yasiyo ya kiserikali ambayo yalitaka sheria hii ya CDF iweze kubadilishwa kuzingatia au kulinganisha na mahitaji ya katiba mpya. Kwa hivyo kulingana na uamuzi wa mahakama kulifanyika mabadiliko ambayo yalileta sheria ile ambayo tulionayo sasa, ambayo tunaita National Government Constituency Development Fund Act of 2015. Na hiyo mabadiliko yalikuwa muhimu kwa sababu yalileta mambo muhimu. Kwanza ni kuhakikisha kwamba katika utekelezaji wa maendeleo yakifadhiliwa na hazina hii, tunaheshimu ugavi wa madaraka baina ya ngazi tatu za serikali, ambao ngazi ya kwanza ni bunge, ngazi ya pili ni serikali tekelezi na ngazi ya tatu ni mahakama. Kwa hivyo katika sheria hii imehakikisha kwamba majukumu ya wabunge ambao kazi yao ni kutunga sheria na kufanya uwakilishi na usimamizi iko tofauti na majukumu ya serikali tekelezi ambao bodi ya kitaifa ni moja executive, kwamba mambo ya utekelezaji nafanywa na serikali tekelezi kupitia wizara yetu ya hazina na mipango ya kiuchumi, bodi ya kitaifa, na pia katika maeneo bunge kuna kamati ambao ina wanachama wameteuliwa kutoka kwa wananchi wenyewe ambao ndio wanasimamia hizo hela, na katika hiyo kamati mjumbe hayuko pale tena. Mjumbe haketi katika hiyo kamati kwa sababu mjumbe kazi yake ni kutunga sheria na kufanya oversight. Kwa hivyo kuna hiyo utofautishaji na kutenganisha majukumu ilikuwa ni tofauti moja muhimu ambayo ilileta na mabadiliko ya sheria mnamo mwaka wa 2015.
For CDF to deliver on its mandate, it is run by a board of directors. The board is the highest decision-making organ of the corporation and is responsible for the development of policies. The board also provides strategic direction, ensuring that the NGCDF attains its objectives and mandates. At the top of NGCDF is the Chief Executive Officer, who heads a group of professionals responsible for different departments at the headquarters. At the constituency level, NGCDF has fund account managers responsible for funds management and carrying out projects. From conducting public participation, disbursing funds, and daily office administration, the fund account manager runs the fund without political interference. Members of Parliament, on the other hand, have an oversight role.
The board are the people who manage the fund. You should know, members of Parliament are not involved in the allocation of funds or management of the fund. They are oversight. Our role is purely oversight. We oversight the board. We oversight the board, which is the constituency board. Selection of board members within the constituency is not even the work of the member of Parliament. There is a public participation and people apply to be board members and they are interviewed, and there is a team which interviews the board, and therefore the names just comes to Parliament. That's where they meet with the member of Parliament. They meet here and we approve the names, and they go back and they are gazetted and they are used on the ground to do the projects. So members of Parliament, their work is oversight. And even in CDF itself, there is what we call Constituency Oversight Committee, where member of Parliament is part of that. They don't do the day-to-day management of CDF. We can only also give our view, of course. Member of Parliament will always know the needs of the people, and he will give his view to the board and tell them, I would think that if we do this, if you do this and this, the people will be happy. And people will be, there is a need here. You find a sinking toilet in a school, you quickly go and do it. You find the class which has been ripped off by wind, and the member of Parliament is the first person to be told by the community. So therefore, it is important and that the role of member of Parliament is there, just also advisory and oversight.
To further support NGCDF's initiatives, the 13th Parliament created an audit committee, referred to as Decentralized Funds Account Committee. Its mandate is to audit NGCDF.
As at now, we are looking at accounts dating back to 2013. Since inception of CDF, audited accounts have never been examined by Parliament because there has been a lot of workload. That docket was in another committee that was dealing with the other funds, and their priorities were different, and therefore they never reached to the level of looking at CDF. And in its wisdom, in this 13th Parliament, in its wisdom, decided to form my committee to specifically deal with CDF and the GAF.
It has been 20 years of great strides in all corners of the country. The capacity to translate CDF's vision to reality has worked.
As we grow, as we continue moving in that direction, the diversity of needs increases, but also the efficiency of achieving them also improves, isn't it? So we would like to see improvement into the future so that what we showcase in another perhaps 10 years will be different from what we are showcasing now for 20 years. That is the development discourse we want to analyze. It's because we are saying it is making a difference. And if it is making a difference, we should encourage it to continue. And if it is making a difference, everybody would look forward to it in terms of making a very impactful and progressive impact going forward.
Lives are better. Services are better. Structures are better. Thanks to NGCDF.